Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai.
Paramahansa Parivraj Gacharya Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासारि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। नूरमनवेती धाम की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। यमुना माई की जय। गंगा माई की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल समवेता भक्त वृंद की जय। All grace to the assembled devotee. All grace to the assembled devotee. All grace to the assembled devotee. All grace to Sri Sri Guru Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. It's on, okay. Reading a Prabhupada's nectar story this morning. During a winter visit to Japan, Prabhupada stayed in a cottage where the walls were made of paper. The landlord supplied a kerosene heater, but it only warmed a small area. Prabhupada wrapped himself in his gray wool chadar and went on translating the Bhagavatam through the cold early morning hours, but he remarked that it was very uncomfortable. When the devotees went to the landlord and asked for a second heater, the landlord's wife objected. The landlord finally found a spare second heater, but the kerosene fumes made the room too stuffy. In addition, the house was filled with a bad odor. In that neighborhood, there was an open sewage system. A truck was supposed to come by with a vacuum cleaner and suck out the contents of the stool pits, but the truck hadn't been there in over a week. In anxiety that their spiritual master was suffering much inconvenience, the devotees went to the landlord and pleaded with him to do something about the stench. The man was humble and accommodating, and he respected Prabhupada as a spiritual leader. He agreed to clean out the pits himself using hand buckets. But the landlord's wife again objected that her husband should make such an extraordinary, humiliating effort to accommodate Srila Prabhupada. The man did it anyway, and the bad odor disappeared. On Prabhupada's last evening in the paper cottage, he gave a public lecture. The house had one floor plus a stage-like mezzanine. The speaker's dais was set on the stage along with a microphone. The little dwelling was filled with guests, and Srila Prabhupada led Kirtan and then began lecturing in English, which at least some of his audience could understand. In the midst of his talk, the landlord's wife, a small middle-aged Japanese lady, entered the house and began screaming in anger. A few devotees moved forward to stop her, but she evaded them. She walked up onto the stage beside Srila Prabhupada, making angry gestures and completely disrupting the meeting. Prabhupada asked a guest who she was and what was the matter with her, and he heard that the lady was the landlady and that she was angry that Prabhupada had made her husband clean out the stool pits. When he understood, Prabhupada broke into a grin. He leaned forward and spoke into the microphone as if making an announcement. "Japanese landlady," he said, and the audience and devotees relaxed and laughed. It was as if by 2 words Prabhupada had made a philosophical statement explaining the universal phenomenon of landladies and how they had to be tolerated. After a pause, Prabhupada continued his lecture, and the landlady, who had become disarmed by Prabhupada's smiling words, went down the stairs and left the cottage. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so Harinam is today in Gainesville, 5 o'clock, University and 13th. We're still in the middle of Purushottam month. This is a very excellent time to go out on Harinam if it's something you don't normally do, or even if it is something you normally do. Remember that we're going door to door. Book distribution, you can see Vaishnavi or Sankalpa, thank you. And there's also a list of services on the bulletin board if you want to just go and do a little something and nobody even has to know you've done it except Krishna. Reminder to be grinding sandalwood during classes because we don't have it very much yet, and we'd like to be able to cover all the deities. It's a big effort to do that. Here are the devotees who assisted their spiritual master dressing the deities today. Shishi Radhasham Sundar, Ramanya Prabhu, Chota Radhasham Sundar, Karaneshwari Prabhu, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram, Akuti Prabhu, Chota Krishna Balaram, Nitai Priya Prabhu, Shri Shri Gornitai, Panchali Prabhu, Chota Gornitai, Leela Prabhu, Gurzalur Nishingadev, Avaduta Nitai Prabhu. And Jamastami Prabhu is giving class today.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Balaba Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Balaba Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Balaba Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Balaba Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashto Taratarishi Srimad Mr. Vangre C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashto Taratarishi Srimad Mr. Vangre Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON Guru Vrinda Ki Jai. Prem Sagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dhamma Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dhamma Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dhamma Ki Jai. Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Ganga Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Sankirtan Jagna Ki Jai, Brihamadanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, the Transcendental Lordship Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balarama Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhashama Sundar Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Guranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 68. Chapter is entitled The Marriage of Samba. Today we're covering text 6 does, so I'll just chant 25 and then you can follow along with me, and then we'll do 26 responsively. Ete yonena sambada sahasasya sanasana Vishnayastu yatam nita ashmadata nipashana. It is because these Vrishnis are bound to us by marital ties that we have granted them equality, allowing them to share our beds, seats, and meals. Indeed, it is we who have given them their royal thrones. So 26, you can do this responsively. Kshamara vyajane shakam atapatram chaponduram kritam ashanam shayam punjate smad upekshaya. Kshamara vyajane shakam atapatram chapanduram kiritam ashanam shayam punjate smadupekshaya. Shamara vyajane shankam atapatram chapanduram kiritam ashanam shayam punjate smadupekshaya. Please chant. Punjate smadupekshaya. Vaishnavis. Shamara vyajane shankam attapatram chapanduram kiritam ashanam shayam punjate smadupekshaya. Chamara, of yak-tail hair. Yajane, pair of fans. Shankam, conch shell.
Atapatram, umbrella, cha, and, pandaram, white, kiritam, crown, ashanam, throne, shayam, royal bed, bunjate, they enjoy, asmat, by our, upekshaya, overlooking. Translation: only because we look the other way could they enjoy the pair of yak-tail fans in the conch shell, white umbrella, throne, and royal bed. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes that the Kurus were thinking they, the Yadus, should not have used such royal paraphernalia in our presence. But we did not check them due to our family relationships. By using the words Ajmad Upekshaya, the Kurus mean to say they were able to use these royal insignia because we did not take the matter seriously. As explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the Kurus thought showing concern about their use of these items would have been a sign of respect. But in fact, we do not have such respect for them. Since they are of inferior families, they are not to be respected, and so we pay no regard to them. Om Ganantimarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Umnitam Gena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha. These, we can approach Bhagavatam on two different levels, from the standpoint of Leela and also from the standpoint of what lessons can be learned from a particular pastime. So from the standpoint of Leela, it's quite a unique scenario that's unfolded here. Samba, has kidnapped Lakshmana from his Swayamvara, and it appears that the Kurus are really upset that he's done this, and so they want to teach him a lesson. She didn't want him as a husband, as another factor, so they go after him. They're really upset, so they go after him. They're outnumbered. He's outnumbered 6 Maharatis to 1, and this includes Bhishma Dev. So they capture him, and they take him back into Hastinapur, and then Narada Muni, as the transcendental catalyst, informs the Yadavas of what's taken place, of how the Samba was unfairly dealt with. They didn't observe the standard of Kshatriyas, of a fair fight. They outnumbered him, and so Balaram, the Yadavas, they're putting their armor on, they're ready to go and fight with the Kurus. And Balaram feels responsibility to try and avert this fighting, amongst basically friends and family. So he takes it upon himself to go there and straighten things out. He sends Uddhava to, first to feel out Dhritarashtra's mood. And Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana are so favorably disposed towards Balaram because, he taught, Balaram taught qualities. That's the nature of spiritual life. Everything's very personal. So they were very favorably disposed. And they greeted Uddhava, who Balaram sent first, is just to test the water, and then they went outside, because Balaram had stayed in a garden, in a little cottage, waiting to see the result, and they went out and just welcomed him very warmly, with great respect. So, after exchanging pleasantries of how the different family members in Dwarka are and in Hastinapur, Balaram got down to business, and very succinctly, he said, just to give everyone a little review, King Ugrasena is our master and the ruler of kings. With undivided attention, you should hear what he has ordered you to do, and then you should do it at once. King Ugrasena has said, this is directly from, this is Balaram quoting King Ugrasena, even though by irreligious means several of you defeated a single opponent who follows the religious code, still I'm tolerating this for the sake of unity among family members. So here Balaram is, this is the message. He's using the Hari Prayanas from India. So there's a Upekshavad, right? This is where you state things indirectly. It's considered to be of the best etiquette. So Balaram's being a little indirect here. He's not saying just give them back, let Samba go. But it was obvious that this is what Balaram wanted. So then the Kauravas became really furious, and they spoke in very negative ways. Here's what they said. This was yesterday's last verse. Oh, how amazing this is! The force of time is indeed insurmountable. A lowly shoe now wants to climb on the head that bears the royal crown. So what an insulting way of dealing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, dealing with the person that he's representing, Ugrasena and all the Yadavas. And then, or at least this is on the surface, it seems quite, quite a obnoxious response. And then today, it's because these Vrishnis are bound to us by marital ties that we have granted them equality, allowing them to share a bed, seats, and meals. Indeed, it is we who have given them their royal thrones. Only because we looked the other way could they enjoy the pair of yak-tail fans, and a conch shell, white and royal throne and royal bed. So, really big put down. And in one sense, it seems quite on the material platform. So let's first analyze it from the standpoint of Leela. Now, first of all, Yayati cursed that all of his descendants couldn't hold the position of a king. So, on this basis, I think we can assume that this is how they're speaking of them as low-class people. Here they are, the Pandavas and the Kauravas are, they're kind of on the emperor level, whereas King Ugrasena is like small time. Maybe he isn't even really considered by them a king, because that's the curse. If we go back, however, I guess this enters a little bit. Okay, so this is more Leela. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on text 21, where Balaram saying King Ugrasena is our master and the ruler of kings. With undivided attention, you should hear what he has ordered you to do, and then you should do it at once. So it seems there's an incongruity between the vision that the Kauravas seem to be holding in their heart, and what the personality of Godhead is indicating, of the position of Ugrasena. So here's what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has to say. You are kings, but Ugrasena is the ruler or king of you. Shita Isha. So he's the ruler of the whole world. Why? Because he is master, Prabhu, whose order Indra and others carry out, offering him tribute in the form of the Sudharma hall and the Parijata tree. Yayati forbade the Yadus from being kings, but he did not forbid them from being rulers of kings. You should listen carefully to his order, otherwise he will punish you. So, some insight from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, I think what I'll do is there's a very good summation of the Leela, kind of the internal, rasa that is being relished here by these eternal associates of the Lord. And that's summarized nicely by Srila Prabhupada, and this is quoted in the last purport of this chapter. I'm maybe preempting whoever's assigned that verse and purport, but I think it's relevant. And it's really fascinating, the kind of what's really going on behind the scenes on the platform of rasa. For the most part, it was a practice of the Kshatriya kings to inaugurate some kind of fighting between the parties of the bride and bridegroom before the marriage. When Samba forcibly took away Lakshmana, the elderly members of the Kuru dynasty were pleased to see that he was actually the suitable match for her. That's not what came out externally, but in order to see his personal strength, however, they fought with him. Without any respect for the regulations of fighting, they all arrested him. When the Yadu dynasty decided to release Samba from the confinement of the Kurus, Lord Balaram came personally to settle the matter. And as a powerful Kshatriya, he ordered them to free Samba immediately. The Kauravas became superficially insulted by this order, so they challenged Lord Balaram's power. They simply wanted to see him exhibit his inconceivable strength. Okay? Interesting analysis. Thus, with great pleasure, they handed over their daughter to Samba. And the whole matter was settled. Duryodhana, being affectionate towards his daughter Lakshmana, had her married to Samba in great pomp. Balaram was very satisfied after his great reception from the side of the Kurus. And accompanied by the newly married couple, he started toward his capital city of Dwarka. Lord Balaram triumphantly reached Dwarka, where he met with many citizens who were all his devotees and friends. When they all assembled, Lord Balaram narrated the story of the marriage, and they were astonished to see how Balaram had made the city of Hastinapur tremble. By that last sentence, he was pulling the Hastinapur into the Ganges. He dislocated it from its foundation in the earth and was pulling it. Okay, so that's from the standpoint of rasa, kind of what's place here. Seemingly contradictory modalities. Seems like there's this ferocious fratricidal mood that we can also gain. So this is kind of in the area of the lesson that I'd like to explain. It's as if when Lord Balaram, and he finished speaking, then the reaction of the Kurus, the senior Kurus, was you think you are? Do you know who I am? It was like that, right? So kind of, has anybody ever had that kind of emotion before? You know, maybe when some kind of conflict has arisen in their life. Anybody ever felt like that? I'm the only one? I can remember when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I had a classmate, and he started to wrestle with me. I still remember his name. It was Scott Elder. And I said to him, do you know who I am? Because I was the big bully in my grade, in my class. And he actually beat me up. So I got humbled. So, you know, this is something that from time to time happens within the devotional community. You know, we somehow or other, another devotee pushes, as we say in the colloquialism, pushes our buttons. And we respond not in a way that we would consider to be the best way, you know, for a Vaishnava. So there's kind of like lessons that can be drawn from this. Now, this point of it, do you know who I am? Who do you think you are? I mean, that's really what takes place. When we lose it, when we lose our composure, we become disturbed, we're forgetting who we are. You know, that we're eternal servants of Krishna. And that forgetfulness also leads us to a disrespectful attitude towards other living entities, to other Vaishnavas. And so, you know, I think everyone's gone through this, maybe in the not too distant past. You know, we've had these kind of experiences, maybe with our spouse, maybe with someone we're serving with. You know, there's a variety of different situations that are instructive, and you know, give us an opportunity to really come to terms with our devotional relationship with Krishna. Because you look at it, you know, here we've got the leaders of the Kurus, and they're dealing with Lord Balaram. You know, Balaram's representing Ugrasena. You know, and they're putting him down like, who the heck is this guy? It's, you know, what immediately comes to mind is the third shloka of Shishastakam. Chanadapi sunichena toroiva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya siddha hari. One should consider himself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant to the tree, ready to offer all respect to others, and not expecting any respect in himself. No, I got that mixed up. Not acting out of false prestige and ready to offer all respects to others, manadena. So there's some interesting points that are made in this regard by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's really a wonderful document where his commentary is entitled Sri Sanmodan Bhashya. And it's really quite remarkable, you know, how he analyzes the humility. He describes, you know, the straw on the street. You know, he's an inanimate object, so he doesn't have this whole expanded false ego. You know, he's the straw in the street. You know, that's it. There's nothing more than that. Whereas in our conditioned state, you know, there's a big exaggeration of what we think we are. You know, it's like we're not, you know, tiny part and parcels of Krishna when we're under the influence of ahankara. We've got a lot more there. There's one of my favorite shlokas from the 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 37th shloka, that quite accurately describes this phenomena. Bayam duiti yabi niveshata shad ishari petasha viparyoshmiti tanmaya yato buddha abajetan bhaktyayaka yesham gurudeva tatma. When the living entity becomes attracted by the material energy, he becomes separated in his relationship from Krishna. He becomes illusioned and he starts thinking, instead of that I'm Krishna's servant, I'm Krishna's competitor. There's this completely different relationship. It's a viparyo, like a reversal. And so in that condition, when one finally realizes that this is what's going on, then he should take up the process of devotional service with heart and soul. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes that when one chants the holy name offenselessly, then automatically the principles that are described in the four qualities that are described in this third verse of the Shashastakam automatically manifest. They're automatically there. One feels great humility. There's a tremendous transformation when this taste from chanting takes place. One becomes detached from his body and his so-called possessions, starts seeing things very clearly, sees himself as Krishna's service. There's this constant reciprocation that takes place when one is chanting purely. And then there's an interesting discussion. It's also an Anchalila. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes how this being more tolerant than a tree, it's not just mantra sparshas tukantaya shatoshna sukha dukkha, just tolerate, tolerate, tolerate. But it's the, what he describes it as is compassion free from envy. Just like the tree, he provides succulent fruits and shade even to the woodcutter who's trying to cut him down. So there's this deep compassion that someone who's chanting free from offense for others, because he's relishing this deep taste in his relationship with Krishna, and he feels so much compassion for those people that are suffering so intensely, without their relationship, in forgetfulness of their relationship with Krishna. This is very nicely expressed by Prahlad Maharaj in his prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev as he's pacifying Lord Nrsimhadev. Naivodvijay para dharatya vaitaranyas twadvirya gayana mahamita magnachita sochaitato vimukachetasa indriyarta maya sukhaya baram udvahato vimudhan. O best of the great personalities, I'm not at all afraid of material existence. For wherever I stay, I'm fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. And this is in, I think it's in chapter 22, Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatana Goswami. And there, Prabhupada translates it, instead of I'm simply absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities, so I'm just in this ocean of bliss from chanting your holy name. I'm just so in ecstasy. So then, Prahlad Maharaj, then he says, but I am concerned out of love for those fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and for maintaining their families and societies and countries. I'm simply concerned out of love for them. So there's this natural compassion that awakens. Okay, so then this respect, there's some freedom from false prestige, not wanting to be honored. This also comes, that I'm just a servant of Krishna. I have no business, no matter how much tribute is paid to me, no matter how much honor is given to me, I just maintain this mentality. I'm Krishna's servant. I don't want to acquire all kinds of possessions. I'm just going to use whatever I can in your service, my dear Lord Krishna. And then there's this respect to everyone else, because he knows this is Krishna's part and parcel. And this is actually, the Madhyama Vaishnava, he has this mentality. Ishvare tad adineshu, balisheshu, tusatsu cha, prema maitri kripo peksha, ya karoti samajamaha. So he offers his love to the Supreme Lord, and this comes through his constantly practicing Uttama Bhakti, and he makes friendships with other devotees. This is so favorable to the process of devotional service. And he balishesha kripa, he's merciful, he has this compassion for those that are innocent and ignorant. And then he neglects those who are envious. But even that's done out of love, because if he starts preaching to them, then they become offensive and they become more entangled in their suffering material consciousness. Okay, so those are the those qualities manifest in someone who's chanting free from offense. But what about the rest of us? How do we get there? So this cultivation of these different moods also are supportive of coming to the platform of Shuddhanam. We can cultivate these moods. We're always thinking, just like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that regarding Chanarapi Sunichena Tororiva Sahishnuna, that we should string it on the thread of the holy name and wear it around our neck for constant remembrance. So this, this Sambandha Gyan, just to always remember our position. And this is, of course, very much fortified by studying Prabhupada's books. Without Sambandha Gyan, one can't come to the platform of offenseless chanting. It's actually required. You just can't do it. This is the position of the Acharyas. Harinam Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Harinam Chintamani. And then this whole platform of Yukta Vairagya, so necessary. We may not be on a liberated platform, we may not be chanting offenselessly, but at least we can try to use everything in Krishna's service, not fall prey to sense gratification. And this sets the stage, for a clarity of consciousness to chant very sincerely. Otherwise, very, very difficult to chant if we're engaging in sense gratification. And then just scrupulously avoid offending devotees. And if we make offense, then we have to do the needful, beg for forgiveness, and try very hard not to do it again. Okay, so I'll stop here, and I'll just read the two translations again. It is because these Vrishnis are bound to us by marital ties that we have granted them equality, allowing them to share our beds, seats, and meals. Indeed, it is we who have given them their royal thrones. Only because we look the other way could they enjoy the pair of yak-tail fans and the conch shell, white umbrella, throne, and royal bed. Are there any questions or comments? Trivakram Prabhu.
Within the Varnashram system, it seems like they usually have like the topmost king there, and you have also subordinate kings. So it seems like the Vrishnis, they were within that category. They were subordinate to the Kurus, and it seems that's why they were speaking like that. But of course, we have to remember that Krishna was there and Balaram was there, who are the supreme personality of Godhead. So to still adopt that kind of a position was really offensive. But But I mean, if you take it on the Varnashram situation, then it looked like from that platform they were saying, well, these guys are subordinate to us and they should not act like this. What's your thought?
Yeah, and Baladev Vijayabhushan's commentary on Bhagavad Gita 11:42, and this is just after Arjuna's been dazzled by Krishna's universal form. And then he says he's regretful that he's referred to him as Shaka, my friend, Krishna, without saying Sri Krishna, and Yadava. Because, and then in the commentary, I've sat in the same seat with you, I've on the same bed with you, we've eaten together. Now I realize, there's this whole opulence, that's just like, wow, where have I gone? So then Baladev Vijayabhushan, he says that the Kauravas and the Pandavas, they're on the level of emperors, whereas the Yadus are like smaller kings. But then you get this other understanding that I read, of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on the text 21 of this chapter, about actually, the Yayati may have cursed them not to be kings, but doesn't mean they can't be rulers of kings. So it's obvious, that this is kind of, it might be Varnashram, but devotional service is transcendental to Varnashram, right? I mean, I guess we could say that in this context. There's a higher platform of understanding. Just like Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Mohammedan family, so how could he be the Acharya of the holy name? But because he was extremely qualified by Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So it's a superior kind of categorization, the devotional qualification, and this is also what we follow within our movement. We're not smarta Brahmins.
Yeah, I was just trying to put ourselves in their shoes, in the sense that Bhagavad Gita has not been spoken as yet, and all that Bhagavad Dharma and stuff seems to be falling apart, right? Because later on when the Mahabharata would take place, then Krishna would speak Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. But that would be later on, not at this point.
So I don't quite get your point.
No, well, what I'm saying, like the Dharma of Bhagavad Gita, or the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita had seemed to be lost at this point. So like what you were talking in the point of, like on a devotional platform, devotional side. So they were strictly operating more on the Varnashram level rather than, on a higher platform.
I guess, but still, there seemed to be recognition that he was the Supreme Personality of God. I think that's mentioned in earlier text. That Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana saw Balaram in that regard. But then because of their offense, they just lost it. They were completely covered by that. But then, from the standpoint of rasa, this was a superficial. They were superficially insulted. But then they went ahead, because they went ahead and blasted Balaram because they wanted to see his Achinsya Shakti. They wanted to see his inconceivable powers. And they weren't really upset with Samba. They were pleased that he was so qualified and was a qualified husband for their daughter. So there's the external and then there's the internal. And many of these elements, in the past time. Kunda Prabhu. Anything? Huh? Anything else? Garongi, got any questions or comments? No? You got it all figured out? All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Yeah, yeah.